Big guy here. Today, I'm going to talk about rejection. The fear of rejection, how to handle rejection, and how a lot of times it's really not personal. But first, let's talk about the fear of rejection. A lot of guys are scared shitless to go up and talk to a chick because they might get rejected. Alright, now, in my belief, there are two natural fears of rejection that are ingrained in our DNA as men that are irrelevant these days, that no longer apply. Alright, so the first fear of rejection, we grew up in tribal societies, right? Tribal times. That's, for the most of our history as human beings, we weren't as civilized as we are now. So naturally, if you went and hit on the wrong woman and she was property of another man, that man and his buddies would probably kill you. So there is that natural fear of rejection built into our DNA code. We got to make sure this chick is available, that she's not with some much larger alpha male with a bigger stick that will hit us on the head. And that is largely irrelevant in today's society. Like, you can, and especially the Western world, you can approach pretty much any woman as long as you're being tactful about it. Most guys ain't going to try to beat you up for it. There might be a few, little a-holes out there, but for the most part, it just don't happen these days. So you got to worry about that. Second fear of rejection, and this one's a bit more understandable, especially in small communities or like in school. So, women don't want a guy that gets rejected by other girls. So the theory has it, let's say if you're in a small tribe of, 100 people, and of those 100 people, there's only, 50 males, 50 females, and of those 50 females, there might be, 5 that are available that's, close to your age range, that's available for you to get with, breed, mate, marry, whatever. And of those 5 women, if you walk up and hit on the wrong one and she rejects you hard, the other 4 women don't want you either. So guess what? Your genetic line ends right there because you can't breed any of those 5 women because they're like, nope, not him. He's a loser. So as such, we have this kind of natural fear of getting rejected that if, we get rejected by this one chick and the other chick sees it, that's it, no dating options. And, that's especially kind of, I don't want to say it's necessarily true, but, think back in like high school, if, you ask a chick out and you get rejected hardcore, all the other girls are going to know about it and you're kind of screwed for dating prospects, right? But once you get past that stage in life where you have this big old huge open world, that doesn't matter. Because if a chick rejects you, even if, whatever environment you're in, she rejects you, change environments, go somewhere else. Options are limitless. So even though that fear is kind of valid, it's ultimately irrelevant. If a girl rejects you, so what? Move on to the next. Ways to mitigate that is you got to be more tactful in how you approach a girl. And by that, I mean like no grand gestures of, hey, will you be my wife? And she's like, ew, girls, no. But if you're more subtle, like, hey, going for a motorcycle ride tomorrow, want to join? And if she says no, there's plausible deniability. You weren't trying to, invite her out on a date. But if she says yes, then guess what? You and her by yourself. One thing leads to another. And you're good. You're covered. So that's the second kind of fear of being rejection. And there are ways around it. And again, it's not necessarily valid this day and age. And finally, the third fear of rejection. Now this one, this one's all on the man, not the woman. If you go up and ask a girl out and she says no, guess what? Nothing in your life changes. If she turns you down hardcore, that's it, buddy. You go on the same. Whatever plans you had, nothing changes. Whatever you're doing a month from now, nothing changes. But if she says yes, then what? You got to take a hot chick out on a date, and you might not be prepared. What do you do? What do you say? What do you talk about? What do you wear? Where do you take her? What do you do? And that's kind of a confidence issue that you don't really know what to do with the chick when you get one. And, a lot of men aren't exactly taught how to properly date a chick or what it means to, properly lead a relationship or how to embrace her masculinity. And, that's kind of society's fault. But ways around that fear is to always kind of have something going on at least every other day. That way, no matter what chick you run into, you know that you got something going on tomorrow or same evening or, 2 days from now that you can invite her to. And it could be something as simple as like, hey, I'm going to this gym class. Want to join? Hey, they got karaoke on Thursday night. Well, come sing. Or Saturday I'm going hiking, see this really cool waterfall. You want to join. And that also gives you the plausible deniability of, the second fear of rejection of, hey, you're just doing something cool and you're inviting her along. So if she says no, it's not like it's going to have the whole world come crash and burn. And not to mention, you actually have something going on that makes you look interesting, and it's just easier for you to naturally invite people to it. The date's already pre-made. And if she says no, guess what? You're still doing that cool thing you're doing. You might meet someone there. That's kind of why I preach having hobbies, a lifestyle, or, passions, things you're always doing. You got to always be doing things, so it's easier to invite people on dates. You shouldn't be doing things for dates. A lot of men eventually realize that doing everything to be a better attractive partner for women is kind of... It shouldn't be the sole reason for doing things, right? If you're going to the gym to work out and get a nice body, yeah, sure, it may start out because, hey, I want to be hot for women. Then you quickly realize that, no, I want to be hot for myself. I want to have, be healthy and be in shape for me, not for this chick. But the motivation to be a more improved man so that you can have better dating prospects is very valid. And it's a good reason to start your life on certain paths. But eventually, once you start getting successful at dating women, you'll realize that the things you're doing, you want to do more because that's what you want to do, not because you're trying to do it for someone else. Makes life a lot better, trust me. But, whatever journey you may take in life always begins with that first step. That first step might not be in the right direction, but as long as you're moving somewhere, you can correct course once you realize what the right direction is. So, while I may not recommend trying to do hobbies and stuff to impress the opposite sex, I will recommend that doing something's better than nothing. Anyways, that's another story. So, if you're worried about getting rejected, don't. And another kind of false belief that I don't know if men necessarily have it, or maybe it's like an unspoken belief, but there's this belief that any man can pick up any chick at any given moment. That is way false. That is absurdly not true. It's kind of like in sales. It doesn't matter how good of a salesman you are, you will never, ever, ever have 100% sales rate, period. It is not possible. There are just too many variables. So, with that said, that's another point of view I want to get to. When you get rejected, how do you handle it? Number one, be cool. Be a little Fonzie about it. You got turned down, so what? I mean, even if she's being a raging bitch about it, how the hell are you to ask me? Just be cool. Just like, hey, cool, my bad. Pleasure to meet you, and walk away. That's it. Always be polite. Matter of fact, the more mean they're being, be polite. Why? Because another chick might be watching, and it's going to show loads more about your character when you're not getting upset or mad at this chick going off on you. And you're just like, hey, cool, my bad, have a nice day, pleasure to meet you, and walk away. Done that a few times. It's actually kind of funny, too, because it makes it even matter. But you want to be cool about it because it's nothing personal. Because it's impossible for any man to be universally attractive for every single woman out there. And it is impossible for a man to walk up to a chick and get her number and bed her the same night, the same week, whatever. It doesn't happen. It is impossible. And thank God, too, because if there was, every man would figure it out. And yeah, anyways, civilization would come crashing down. So, when a woman turns you down, don't take it personally. You don't know what's going on in her life. You don't know what her type of man is. I mean, for instance, I'm huge. I'm 6'4", 310 pounds. I mean, I am not a skinny, thin, small guy. Well, guess what? There are some women out there that only like skinny, small, thin men. And you know what? I don't know that. So if I go up and ask a chick out and she turns me down, it could just be I'm not her type. And that's fine. That's cool. Because not every girl's my type. I completely understand. I don't like big women. So if a big woman's trying to ask me out and I'm like, no, sorry, it just ain't going to work out. I get it. It's nothing personal. So I completely understand. And also, you just don't know what's going on in her life. She could, be madly in love with somebody else, and there's nothing you can say or do to sway her from that, which, I wouldn't want to anyways. So again, nothing against you. It's nothing personal. It could be she has a lot going on in her life right now. Like she has some major family issues, like her parents failing health, cracked out sibling. She has to take care of her nephew and niece, and she's doing the best she can, and she doesn't have time for dating. So, again, nothing against you, nothing personal. And even if it is personal, what if she just looks at you and she's like, ooh, no, not you, because you're you. Okay, that's a little personal, right? What if a chick looks at me and is like, no, I don't date bald men? Well, that's kind of personal, right? I mean, I might take a little offense to that. But you know the way I see it? It's her loss. Now, I know that's, oh my God, big guy, you're so cocky, confident, and narcissistic. Why is it her loss? It might not be her loss. It might be that she fulfills her fantasy, gets her dream guy that's, 6'2", chiseled abs, and that wonderful, luxurious hair. But guess what? I won't know and I won't care. You know why? Because I'll be out living my life, and I got a pretty good life. And the one little confident thing I know that helps me approach women, that helps me ask women out, that I know that if I get rejected on, I know I'm a fun guy. I know I have a lot going on for me. So even if she rejects me for some personal reason, I mean, it's her loss. I really don't know if it is her loss, but I assume it's her loss because, hey, I'm a decent-looking, fun guy, got a lot going on, I know what I'm doing. And if she's not into that, good luck to her. Go find someone more her style. So that kind of goes back for rejection number 3. I mean, just if you know that you bring value to a woman's life, if you know that if a woman goes out with you, you can either make her life easier, her life better, her life more fun, you're going to bring value to her life in some way, then you should have no fear of getting rejected at all. Because she's going to be missing out. And that's the mentality more men should have. And that's kind of why older men are more attractive, right? Because we have that experience. So we also know that we bring a lot of value to the table. I mean, Jesus, young men. I mean, it's bad enough when I was growing up, but I imagine young men are even worse these days. Like, the assault on masculinity and like, I'm not entirely sure because I haven't, been in high school these days, but I'm pretty positive that men in high school are encouraged more to be a woman or even a furry, an animal, a dog or a cat. They're more encouraged to be any and everything except a natural born male. And that's kind of a problem. And I think a lot of men are starting to see that stuff. So, gentlemen, as you get more life experience, as you develop your lifestyle, as you know what's fun to do, you know how to take care of bills, responsibilities, you got a good career, good head on your shoulders, on any given day, you know that you can take your woman out and show her a good time. It could just be something as simple as going to a park, hanging in a hammock. It could be, a nice luxurious date. It could be a cool boat ride, motorcycle ride, mountain biking. I mean, just hiking, just anything cool. If you know how to live your life and you know how to bring somebody along with you on that ride and you know that their life will be a little bit better for it, buddy, that's value. That's built-in confidence. And you should embrace that. Should not be ashamed of it. That's kind of, what positive masculinity is all about. So if you have that, you shouldn't be worried about getting rejected. If you don't have that type of lifestyle, you need to work towards it. It's not that hard to attain. I know it seems hard, all this inflation, and yeah, daddy and jobs suck and all that stuff. But if you keep working towards it, if you set that goal out there, you'll accomplish it. You'll find it. Just, avoid certain traps in life. It'll come to you. You just got to keep working for it. It's not easy. It's not going to be handed to you. That's kind of how life works. You work for things. Anyways, that's my rant for today. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. I heard it's a good thing to have more subscribers. If you don't like what you see and you hate watching it, but you still watch this because you hate me and you're a hater, hit the subscribe button because it helps me out too and you can hate on me some more, right? Anyways, big guy out. There we go.